much to bear, and you don't care, and I won't play alone. I got you in my sight. I keep all the words you said to me. I'll get you, get you, get you, get you on your knees. Rewrite all the things you said that I should be. I'll get you, get you, get you. Now you'll beg me, please. Hey. Now I stay away. You were never meant to save me. Now I stay away. I don't hear you say you're sorry. Hate I even loved you. Hate I fell in love with you. Hate I even loved you. Hate I kinda fell in love with you. Hate I even loved you. Hate I fell in love with you. Hate I even loved you. Hate I kinda fell in love with you.
Big welcome to everybody. This is week 7 of the Project RTR. On today's episode, we are putting some big bore dampers onto our RMX 2.0 chassis. This part number specifically here, the Y2 GC1, it is an A-main specific part number. I have not found anywhere else that sells that specific product. I don't know if it's an old stock or something, but if you're looking for that kit, you can get it from them. Otherwise, just standard SBBS Big Bores will work. Here we're using some tapered pistons from Yokomo. I like them specifically because they come pre-drilled with 6 holes instead of 2 or 4, and their tapered design allows them to change their movement in the damper. Here we have some new titanium shock shafts from Reve-D. These are more of a testing piece. I don't know if they're so much of an upgrade as much as it is to finalize the rest of the Reve-D parts to build an entire car. Here we're using the Yokomo 100 CST shock oil, or equivalent to a 10 weight. If you're building the MST dampers, make sure you stick with that mineral oil. Also pick up some of this O-ring grease. It's handy to have around when building different components on your car. You can get it from a bunch of different brands. We got some slide tie there. And also these Tamiya E-clip tools. They are super handy. This is a 2mm specifically. And if you're building dampers, I highly suggest you pick one up. Even if you only build a set a year, this tool is absolutely worth its weight in gold at $8. Now I still use wire cutters to hold onto the shock shafts when installing the lower ball ends. However, they do make a shock shaft tool to hold them properly. So if you want to invest in that, definitely worth picking up. And this is an old ball end screw-on tool that used to come with the D4 kits. So I have one of these in my toolbox. They are really handy when you're putting things onto shafts, just to spin those little plastic ball cups without deforming them by, say sticking a tool through the end and trying to screw it on. Now, after many damper builds and years of doing this, I have kind of a system that I like to work with, and that will begin by unpackaging all of my components and laying everything out so I can ensure that I have all the parts that I need before I get moving. Here you can see one of the E-clips put into the snap ring tool, and you can simply just grab your shock shaft. Here I've pre-installed the lower, and that is because I'll be running them with the tapered down, and that tapered down has a little pocket on the piston here that you can see when I flip it over here. That little pocket sits right onto that E-ring, and then you snap the top one over it. So if you wanted to run them the opposite way on the shaft, just install the top ring first and build from the bottom. I swear, no movie magic used. That easy. And no lost E-clips. Hallelujah. The organization comes into play when building, as you'll build your damper as if it was on an assembly line, and you'll do each piece to each damper, and this will help your dampers come out more uniform and more congruent with each other when it comes to their dampening effects and how they react. Personal choice, I always leave these O-rings out of the spring perch because it makes it a lot easier to adjust them, and I haven't noticed them spinning loose from vibration.
I feel the darkness calling, like I'm afraid to love. No one can see me now.
Now we're nearing the end of the damper build process. I realized that it would be easier to just reuse the lower ball ends from the original dampers, so I wouldn't have to change balls or any of the other hardware down low. Keep the cost as low as possible. So that's what I'm doing here. Now here I'm using my shock vacuum as my holding stand while I fill with oil. I like to rotate the shaft and move it upwards, and this will help eliminate any of the air bubbles, especially on these tapered pistons. They really like to hold on to air, so give them a bunch of passes and spins and ensure that there is as much air out of the system as you could possibly get. We'll then seal the chamber and pull a vacuum on it, and this eliminates any remaining air bubbles. After a 10-minute rest in the chamber, we're ready to remove our dampers and install our final part, the bladder. We opted for some black bladders, which will give our dampers slightly more rebound than the stock pinks. Ensure that you have oil oozing out the sides before installing the top cap, and you're done. We kept the stock springs on the dampers to ensure that our MST was going to react in much the same way it had been. We have a ton of preload down on the shock adjustment, so we will need to address that at some point with some potential option parts. But look at that droop. Car has plenty of rebound and it squats real nice. But you know us, the true test is always going to be when we go hit that track. So let's go to Scale Science 3.0 and spin some laps with Daniel.
Baby, this is do or die. Feel it in my veins tonight. Emotional suicide. You know it's an eye for eye. I didn't wanna walk the plank. No, but the Mariona, it came. Like the thunder, I was on my way to going under. Swimming in the pain, yeah, I was covered in a tidal wave, But I'm a fighter, try to take me down, I'm going higher. Baby, you've been playing with some fire. You've been playing with fire. One day you will see what you made of me. Found my inner peace. You are choice in the dead of night. Maybe when it's still dark, you know it's an eye for eye. Everyone that you are in the dead of night. You can save your alibi. I already know you lied. Oh no, no, don't even try. Watch the flame in me ignite. You didn't wanna walk
having a blast burning these laps, you can probably notice that Daniel is consistently pulling away from our car. We are underpowered so significantly. So our next upgrade is gonna be a motor and ESC, finally. But check out that proximity, man. I mean, we were definitely getting doors, and the ready to run is smoother than it has ever felt. Really impressed with it, but it is begging for a motor and ESC. And it looks like, according to our poll, y'all wanna see us put in an AccuVanch Jarvis XX and a Fledge 10.5 with the fan. So stay tuned to our next episode when we put those items in our chassis.
What you made of me, what's inside of me. Oh, and one day you will see. I found my inner beast, and you watch it please.
And I ain't stopping, no I ain't stopping, homie regardless, And I ain't stopping, no I ain't stopping, I'm just getting started, let's go. My skin is pale, but I'm a black sheep, riding through the city, Satan in the backseat. Hey yo, that's me, I run it like a track meet, a rap fiend, I set the bar high like an athlete. Step in the booth and Zach gon' drop that 808, cause the vibe is dope and the beat is cracking, now it's getting laced. I'm sharp as a razor blade, I can blow your mind like JFK. I do what I want, you ain't gonna box me in like David Blaine. We get it poppin', homie, day and night. Got the party jumping, bout to break the ice. Stay up on my grind, that's my way of life. I got tunnel vision, I'ma chase that ray of light. Stay up on my grind, that's my way of life. And when a Filipina tells me Malakita, I put two and two together like a ballerina. This music is more than a paycheck, no money in the bank cause I make sense. I put in work till I'm brain dead. I spit a fast soul like a break next, and the crowd goes wild, AM, mayhem. We get it poppin', homie, day and night. Got the party jumping, bout to break the ice. Stay up